hide your kids, lock the doors. You're listening to HR's most dangerous podcast. Chad Sowash and Joel Cheeseman are here to punch the recruiting industry right where it hurts. Complete with breaking news, brash opinion, and loads of snark. Buckle up, boys and girls. It's time for the Chad and Cheese Podcast.
Oh, yeah, it's International Nude Day, or as I like to call it, every day. You are listening to the Chad and Cheese Podcast. This is your co-host, Joel Bad Naked Cheeseman.
And this is Chad, Mr. Worldwide Sowash.
And on this week's show, Appcast goes full blast, Meta goes after Elon, and a little buy or sell. Let's do this.
Hospitality is the heart of our society. It brings people together to share great food, drinks, and experiences. But successfully managing a restaurant or hotel is no easy feat. That's where Harry comes in. Harry is the frontline employee experience platform that helps you build, manage, and engage great teams. With Harry, managers can easily find and hire top talent, manage timekeeping, and communicate with employees at any time from any place. Candidates and team members can quickly and efficiently apply for jobs, swap shifts, and access important information entirely from their mobile devices. And Harry's robust employee engagement tools make team members feel more connected than ever. With Harry, as an owner or operator, you get a bird's eye view of your business, from turnover cost, labor cost, employee sentiment, compliance risk, and team performance. Run your business better by understanding the power of your people. Because when your team is the heart of your business, Harry is the heartbeat. See how it transforms your business.
What's up, Chad?
And you're back across the pond, aren't you?
Yeah, I traded London, England for London, Ontario this week. That's right. That's right.
Ooh,
but it is always great to be in Canada, Chad.
It is. Movie. Don't wreck our show, you hoser.
Yeah. Love Canada because there's literally nobody who lives there. It's amazing. It is a huge country and it has less population than the state of California. So yeah, less GDP as well. But you know that's how things work.
And lovely people, positive outlook on life.
Yes,
you gotta love.
Oh, always yes. Just sweet, just sweet. Yeah. So you
I look like I rolled out of bed, and
you
look like you just came off the beach. You're recuperating nicely from England, I think.
Because I did. Freaking amazing. I had to come out of the water to come do this, but that's okay. That's what I'm here, listener. I'm here for you. For you, listener. Yes.
Yeah. The Pitbull label is starting to grow. The Pitbull of recruiting, as Chad Sowash, or as I like to call him, Euro Chad, is in full effect.
Euro Chad. Okay, so we're just gonna roll right into shout outs since we're talking about being away, because we got to talk about Recfest. Okay.
Yep.
Last year, great time. Everybody's coming out of their cocoon. Everything was just starting to happen. It felt great. Great. This year, it was fucking off the chain. It was amazing. I mean, it did not feel like 5,000 people. It felt like 10,000 people. And I mean, the way that they situated the tents this year were a little different than last year. They did some things different here and there, but man, it was a fucking blast.
It was a blast. And for me, it had extra heartwarming vibes because I got to bring my 16-year-old to the event. He was working hard, passing out T-shirts.
I was
had our equipment. He was kind of a gopher, getting us beer. That was a good time, and he was particularly impressed with the rooftop party thrown by Hack-A-Job and seeing what
Best
that
booth.
meant.
Best
yeah,
booth.
that was a good time, and The booze laws are a little more flexible in England, so we found out that my 16-year-old enjoys a good cider from the old country, which is nice.
The cedar, he loves the cedar. Yes,
cedar.
That's good stuff. Yeah, I thought the best giveaway, at least Julie, we didn't have time. We were on the stage all goddamn day. We were working. We were emceeing the Disrupt stage. I'll talk about a little recipe in a minute for all those kids out there who want to get on stage, how to get a packed house. I'll tell you that here in a minute. But Julie went shopping because she didn't have to be on stage. Last year she was on stage, so she got to go do what everybody does. Get the bag, go get the good swag. The best swag for me personally was, we're going to talk about them later in this podcast, Zinc. They gave away whole bean coffee, good coffee. I'm drinking it, as a matter of fact, right now. Oh yeah, good stuff.
Nice.
Then I asked Julie, I was like, okay, so you went to a bunch of presentations. Which one was your favorite? Guess who it was? You're going to be surprised.
Is this all the tents or just our thing?
All the tents that she went to.
Oh, I have no idea.
Yeah. Brewdog. Go figure. Alcohol once again wins, kids. But I do have to say, after being on stage, watching a tent full, I mean, fucking standing room only, and then in the very next presentation, having a quarter of that, we found out what the recipe was. And you can add some color into this.
Sure.
I'm sure you can. Number one, it's a sexy title, which includes a big brand. You got to have the sex appeal in their kids. And even though many of these smaller companies have amazing stores and they're doing much better and nimble things, I'm telling you right now, if you want to fill a room, you want to fill a tent, you want to fill anything, you'd better have a sexy title and you better have a big name on stage like AstraZeneca, Siemens, Heinz. Those are some big names. They filled the fucking house. Hey, anything to add?
Anytime you could put Seaman on a title, it's gonna. I mean Siemens. sorry, I misspoke. Yeah, Siemens is a good one. I would add that it should be snappy, unless it's so long that it's sort of sarcastic.
Yes.
And also, if it bleeds, it leads. So if it's anything about killing recruitment, employers are finished, anything like that, it's typically gonna play pretty well. I have a Brewdog story, Chad.
Oh, okay.
I'm a little unhappy with Brewdog, and this has nothing to do with recruiting, so bear with me.
Please tell. Do tell.
It's half my show, so I'm going to take over here. So Cole and I fly into Manchester. We like the music scene. I've never been there. You know, I'm a big Oasis fan, so there's a whole thing going on. He's a big Joy Division fan, the Smiths. So anyway, I read all the laws about drinking in England, and it says that as long as a 16-year-old's with a parent and they're having a meal, they can have beer, cider, or wine. So I'm like, cool, that's the law. So I go into Brewdog specifically because I know that they do beer. They have a great hotel, but that's a different story. So anyway, I check in and I ask the bartender, and I say, hey, I want to make sure I know the law. Like, I got my 16-year-old. I want to have a flight of beers. I want to have him try a lager, a sour, a stout, let's see what he likes and go from there. Bartender says, yeah, the law is as long as you're eating and you're there, you can't leave. It's all good. So I'm like, cool. So we get back from all our touring, we shower up, clean up, go to dinner. I'm like, cool, I'm going to get a flight and we're going to have a good bonding experience. Well, what I assume is the manager takes our order, and I start looking at beers to order, and he says, sorry, sir, we don't serve 16-year-olds. And I'm like, but your bartender said that you do. And he said, no, it's our policy that we don't. He leaves and gets my drink. I go online to look at the UK laws, and it says on the official website just what I told you about eating and da-da-da. Yeah. So I show that to him, and I say, what? And I say, well, according to the law that I can, I mean, I guess you can have a corporate policy. And he said, yes, it's our corporate policy not to do that. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to brewdog.com and see if there's anything about 16-year-olds can't drink, even if they're with their parents. Of course, there's nothing online that says that that's the case with Brewdog. So I'm like, there's nothing on your corporate policy that says I can't do this. Cole was getting upset, like, you're embarrassing me. I just decided to drop it. But the whole reason I picked Brewdog was to have this experience, and they kind of fucked me. So I'm a little bit mad with Brewdog.
Well, that hurts, dude. That's where you don't ask for stuff. You just order, and then you just share. You just ask for forgiveness later. Yeah, I get it.
Well, you know my policy.
60% of the time, it works every time.
Every time.
All right. Well, let's get to some other shout-outs, I guess.
Yes, let's hit it. Hit it.
All right, Chad, one of our favorite times of the year is football. And we are, as of this publication, Yes, American football. 55 days until kickoff for the NFL. And fantasy football with Chad and Cheese has become an annual tradition. And Factory Fix gets my first shout out for being a repeat sponsor of fantasy football. With
baby,
Chad
that's
and
awesome.
Cheese. Now we know Dennis Tupper, the defending champion, will be in the league. We know Factory Fix will have someone on the league, but we will soon be promoting the opportunity to play some fantasy football with Chad and Cheese. Always fun. Love reading the leaderboard during the season, but that is one of my big shout outs.
Excited again for fantasy football.
Yes, and I love our league because we have an extra wild card with quarterback as an option. So you can have two quarterbacks
Don't tell
playing.
anybody that's the cheat right there.
That's
you can't
part
tell
of the
everybody
fun.
what the cheat is.
It's part of the fun.
It's a fun when they don't know what the cheat is. It's a shortcut.
Yes, Justin Fields is my sleeper this year. I think he's going to blow out this year.
I hope so.
Trevor Lawrence was the hot item last year. I think Justin Fields hits it this year. Who knows? So my second shout out, Chad, you and I remember the early days of what microbrews were. You and I were drinking in the 90s. It was Sam Adams, for me anyway. Sam Adams, Goose Island, Fat Tire, and Anchor Steam.
Anchor Steam, yes.
Two of those have been bought up. Sam Adams is still holding firm. But Anchor Steam announced this week, after 127 years, the San Francisco icon will be stopping the creation of beer, the brewing of beer, and just closing up shop. I'm personally sad about that because that was one of my go-tos whenever I go to San Francisco. But I also think, talking about Bud Light as we do on the show, Bud Light's problem isn't being too woke. Bud Light's problem is people aren't drinking shitty beer anymore. They're not even drinking like the good microbrews of old. They're drinking local shit in their city and towns where people they actually know work there, or they know where the brewery is. It's better, it's fresher. Like, that's the biggest problem with Bud Light. And I think Anchor Steam's news sort of underscores the problem with the beer industry right now.
And if anybody knows that, we do, because in Indianapolis and all throughout Indiana, we probably have, and Midwest, probably have the best beer, especially IPAs, in the world. Juicy, hazy, fucking amazing. So I'm not drinking a Bud Light. I mean, I love what they're doing, but not going to do it.
Indiana goes deep when it comes to microbrews. And who else goes deep, Chad? It's us when it comes to giving free shit away. We got to talk about it on every show. But if you haven't signed up, kids, go to chadcheese.com, click that free link, give us your information. You could win a T-shirt from our friends at JobGet. You can win beer from Aspen Tech Labs. You can win whiskey, one from Chad, one from me, our favorite bourbons. That's from our friends at Tex Kernel. And a new one, Chad, Abode HR, new sponsor. We got $250 Airbnb gift cards every month. You want to get out, COVID's over, like, this is your opportunity. Sign up and get a night on us, a night on Chad and Cheese. Get a special romantic room, a little candles, fill up the bathtub. Like, what could be better than that, Chad?
Fill it up with champagne. Do it the way that Chad and Cheese would do it. Yeah.
This is not your honeymoon, my friend.
Also in your Chad and Cheese T-shirt, because it's like getting a hug with Chad and Cheese.
Ooh.
Love it.
Ooh.
Love it. Yeah.
Ooh, really?
I want to hear about birthdays.
Can you feel the tension in the air right now? I know I can. I can feel it all the way down in my plums.
Oh, that just never gets old. That's right, Chad.
No.
Another year around the sun. Some of our fans are celebrating a birthday. We got Christina White, Justin Spencer, Eddie O'Neill, Ellen Spiegel, Rob Bursey, Todd the Mayor Daly, Ben Saggers. I think that's a made-up name. There's no way that Ben Saggers is a real person. Melissa Bordage, Karen Lash, Patrick Sullivan, Elaine Orler, Will Staney, and Christian Anderson. I always bring up Christian Anderson because he was the PR guy for Jason Goldberg back at Jobster, which none of that exists anymore, but he's got a special place in my heart. And by the way, we mentioned we mentioned Matt Alder's birthday last week. I think the dude is double dipping. It was not his birthday last week. He's trying to get more T-shirts or something. I don't know what's going on, but
he's trying to get some
Alder,
rum from Plum.
We're on to you, that British guy. We're on to you. It was not your birthday. So stop double dipping in our birthday birthday pool. That
We're
is.
going to have verification. We're going to have like ID verification for birthdays or something like that.
Yeah, what is it? ID Me that people can sign up
Yes.
for. We're gonna have like a clear,
Oh, shit.
you know,
Okay.
program or something.
Okay. Well, you're definitely going to need a clear, because coming up next, kids, it's events. And yes, we just did Recfest and we're getting ready to do Recfest again. All of the craziness, all of the FOMO that you, obviously, if you weren't there, you felt, you got to come to Nashville. It's very simple. It's in September. We actually have a 50% off discount code. Yes. 50. That's half. Yes. And why do we do that? Here's why we do it. Because TA professionals, you need to bring your entire team. This is an all hands day, right? You bring them out, you get together, you rub those members together, you make them sticky. That's what our friend Douglas would always say. But you got to love a little Recfest. So get out there. Come see Chad and Cheese at the Disrupt stage. Then we're going to be in Vegas at HR Tech. Everybody's obviously going to be there, but it's going to be a little different this year. This year, kids, you can come to the Fuel 50 booth where Chad and Cheese will be recording live in front of a studio/expo audience. That's right. Going to be at the Fuel 50 booth, HR Tech. And then last but not least, because I got to bring this up, because I can't fucking wait to do this, Unleash Paris. Unleash America was amazing, but when you have Unleash Paris, I mean, come on, kids. You got to come to Paris. Got to do it. All of this is at chadcheese.com. Click on events in the upper right-hand corner. Register for them all.
Yep. By the way, Chad, I had a call with Fuel 50 this week. You were on the beach, I think, doing something.
Okay.
Little teaser. Not confirmed, but Cardboard Chad might be making, an appearance at HR Tech. Not confirmed yet, kids. And there may even be a Cardboard Cheese. I don't know. It could get crazy.
But I'm actually going to be there, so I don't understand why we need a cardboard version of me. I don't want to compete with me.
But we take breaks, Chad, and there needs to be something to fill in the seat when we're gone. So I'm just okay. We're still exploring. We're still exploring. I don't know. Could happen.
Topics.
All right. It's so big, it's going to cover the whole first block of our podcast. Appcast, by all accounts, the most popular programmatic ad distributor in the recruitment industry, has acquired Baird Advertising, a recruitment marketing company. Terms were not disclosed. The combined company will become a global recruitment agency with programmatic services serving over 2,000 clients. The deal resulted in the addition of 238 employees, and Baird's executives will continue their roles under Appcast's leadership, aside from the CEO. The acquisition will integrate Baird's operations into Appcast and retire the Baird name. It's gone. Yes. Appcast's focus on large enterprise clients will continue, and the company aims to maintain partnerships with other agencies. I don't know, Chad. This is big news. What are your thoughts?
Ooh, well, there's a commonality here. We just saw Anchor Steam, 127 years gone. Baird has been around, Bayard around for 100 years, a century, and they are going to be gone. So consolidation and convergence between traditional agencies and technologies have been happening for over a decade. And this is big. So why a convergence between agency and technology? I think it's pretty simple. Employers are spending more budget today on recruitment marketing than their actual core talent acquisition tech stacks. And if you don't have to pay that 15% agency fee, because that's yours, plus you can widen up that wallet share with creative and all that other fun stuff. Woo-hoo! That's some cash. And Bayard had a very nice size portfolio, mainly in the US. So this, to me, is incredibly smart. It just makes damn good sense. I got a call on Sunday talking about this was going to happen on Monday. It sounded like they feel like they're getting away with something. Like, somebody could have bought Bayard, but we got them. They were, I mean, it wasn't just the bullshit, we're trying to put up this fluffy, we're really excited about this. They are fucking giddy that they bought Bayard. It's like, this is like a big, big move. Now, we'll talk about a little bit of why that might be. But let's dig into some history here. So in 2013, Symphony Talent, known back then as Findlay, by the way, they acquired Bernard Hodis Group. That's when we started to see a lot of this happening and people starting to understand that, wait a minute, technology is going to play a big game in the agency space, right? Well, Hodis and Findlay, their cultures and their business priorities didn't align at all. It was like cats and dogs. I mean, just the shit didn't work. So that really didn't gel like they thought they would. They finally killed the Findlay brand. They became Symphony Talent in 2016, starting including programmatic later on down the road. Then fast forward 6 years later, in July of 2019, GemSpring, a PE firm, acquires TMP Worldwide. And guess what happens? TMP Worldwide was an agency, but they created tech. Talent Brew. Remember, which doesn't exist anymore, kids. Go to talentbrew.com. Yeah, it's not there. So since then, they rebranded to Radency. But again, we're starting to see agencies really understand what's happening here. Then Appcast was obviously the predominant player in the space for agencies. Chris Foreman, incredibly smart go-to-market. Yep. They created the infrastructure for agencies to be able to make money from programmatic and performance jobs. Hello. So that worked so well that obviously Stepstone acquired Appcast or Axel Springer on July 1st of 2019. Indeed, not to be outdone, acquires ClickIQ on July 15th, and then Radency, not to be put in a corner like baby, announces 2 weeks later, July 16th, that they're buying Parengo, another programmatic ad platform. Then 2 weeks later, 2 weeks later, we've got four fucking acquisitions that are happening here. Recruitix has their hold my beer moment as they acquire the very sexy KRT Marketing, right? So all was quiet on the Western Front until July of 2021 when a brand new player, Veritone, acquires programmatic player PandaLogic. And then just recently bought a large portfolio of business from Apollo and CareerBuilder. They call that Broadbean, right? Yep. Now that's historically, we're seeing the convergence happening.
And don't forget Recruitology and Jobcase.
Oh, yeah, and Jobcase. But then you've got all of that, but you've got a 100-year name agency, right? Yeah. So do you think the day of Mad Men is pretty much gone as we move toward technology?
Oh, in our industry, for sure. And you gave a eloquent, great breakdown, and all the kids should be listening to your historical breakdown. I'm going to go even deeper with my historical breakdown.
Just the tip.
So 20th century, 50 plus years, agencies were a money printing machine. They would do display ads. They would basically like answer the phone and be like, "Oh yeah, can we place our New York Times ad again this week?" Sure, no problem. We'll change the dates. We'll do a little change in creative. Like, oh, you want to do color? You want to do color this week? Maybe we do a full page instead of half page, whatever. And like just printing money. And their main role was the three martini lunches, the season tickets, the dinners at Morton's. Like that was the agency world, and that was what existed. And then the internet came along. And cheap job ads. And for a while, they did all right. They did the little bundle thing. They said, let's put it in the paper. Let's put it on Hot Jobs. Let's throw it on Career Mosaic. And things are pretty good. And I remember the days of like going to trade shows and agencies would have like vinyl walls with literally newspaper ads stuck on Velcro on there. And they would just show people the ads that they've done. And then after job sites, technology started happening. ATSs, SEO led to mobile stuff, and agencies had this moment where they said, well, we can build this and get all the money, or we can like partner with these tech solutions and get part of it. And a lot of the agencies built their own shit, and they ended up realizing that it's not as good as the shit that's actually being built by the entrepreneurs and the startups. So we're going to transfer to being the consultant and knowing everything out there. We're going to plug you into what's best, right? And that worked really well. I didn't have to spend money on building stuff and maintaining it. I could just leverage the best solutions and plug people into that. And now we're into a phase of I have to now push Appcast, which acquired an agency which I've always been a competitor to. So agencies that, the Shakers, you mentioned most of them in there. Now it's a moment of do we build it now? Do we keep putting money in Baird and Appcast's pocket? Do we use a different solution until they're bought by someone that we're competing with? My guess is you're going to enter a time where these agencies are like, who should we acquire? Who should we invest in to have a piece of it? So if they do buy, we have first right of refusal, or we have an opportunity to get in bed with these companies. But I think it's a really interesting time because I can't imagine any of the agencies I know really loving the fact that now they're putting money in Baird's pocket or a competitor's pocket. So there's going to be a really interesting shakeout with what these companies do. Do they stop recommending Appcast? Can they stop recommending Appcast? Where are they going to send people? And these solutions are being built all the time. AI is going to be a major fun time for us to talk about startups. Do these agencies that are still around start saying, okay, who do we place bets on so we can be at the forefront, or we can buy these companies? So to me, that's historically the most interesting perspective is we've gone from the martini lunches to like M&A, who invest in, but then it's like conflict of interest because are we recommending only the companies that we're investing in? I think it's really going to be a difficult time, and they're going to have to dance between the raindrops to like keep everybody happy. I would not want to be an agency head right now trying to figure out all this stuff right now.
Yeah. So when we're talking about like the Shakers and the NASs and whatnot, I really believe that, not every agency is good for every company, right? There's obviously a need that fits. And will they continue to use ClickCast and Appcast? Who knows? There are other programmatic, tools that are out there that they could prospectively just flip over to. It's not going to be that easy, but there's definitely things that they can do. I think what Joe has done, and just personally, because we know Joe, and we're definitely biased. There's no question. You can see us wearing Shaker gear around all the time. I really believe that his idea of, hey, we don't want to buy it because we're not a tech company, right? And we're not going to try to fool people like Radency did, like TMP did, and to thinking that we're a tech company, because we're not a tech company, right? That's not who we are. And I appreciate that authenticity. And I also appreciate that, he can be more nimble and unbiased in being able to use other technologies that are out there and so on and so forth. I do believe there is always going to be a place for that. The thing that interests me the most, I'm going to throw a curveball at you, is what this means to Indeed. Because Baird had a large sum of cash that would actually go from their clients to Indeed. Now, does Appcast outflank Indeed and start taking that cash, maybe a little bit more of a margin on it, and that money goes into Appcast instead of directly to Indeed, right? Are the Germans outflanking the Indeed army? That's the question, right? Is Axel Springer coming out? Are they actually getting this right? And we have been giving Stepstone shit this entire time, and they might be outflanking Indeed. What do you think about that?
I think you pulled the rabbit out of the hat, and it's interesting to me how little Stepstone is mentioned in any of the PR, any of the interviews, and they own Appcast. Like the press release could have just been Stepstone acquires Baird, as well as it could have been Appcast acquiring Baird. So Stepstone is allegedly preparing for an IPO this year. Okay, this is a good move if you're going to IPO. Okay, I assume they're going to IPO on the U.S. markets. It's the biggest markets in the world by far. And I'm gonna throw out a prediction to you, Chad.
Uh-oh.
Stepstone acquires CareerBuilder. Let me say it again. Stepstone acquires CareerBuilder.
You know what?
They wrap all that into the programmatic solution, the
Yeah.
agency piece, and they go public owning one of the best brands historically in the U.S. market. That sounds like an IPO that will get the interest of a lot of investors. CareerBuilder gets acquired by Stepstone. I call it.
Wow.
That's my answer to your Indeed question.
I really believe I think that would be a great move, because there's no question CareerBuilder is on the market at fire sale prices right now, and if anybody could get them, it would definitely be Stepstone. Stepstone was looking at Broadbean at one time, right? So maybe they were looking at trying to just outflank in a much different way, in going toward the U.S. market, right? Versus focusing on Europe as much, because when you have the rails like Appcast does, it's just smart. The other programmatic players that are out there today, though, they've got to be excited, though. They've got to be excited, because a couple of things happen. This just demonstrates the power of and validates the power of the platform and the rails, right? We saw Recruitix buy KRT. Now Appcast buys Bayard, right? This isn't the other way around. This isn't a TMP buying a little Parengo, which was a little, early stage startup for all intents and purposes compared to these other two. So I think this really flips the switch and starts to say, okay, look at the validation for all of these programmatic players. Now valuation, where does that go, right? And everybody's going to be clamoring for them, because they're unbiased for all, again, intents and purposes.
Yep. The acquisition of Appcast for the price tag that they got it is quickly looking like the steal of the last
so smart
4 or 5 years. Yeah, it's starting to look really, really smart. And I think we called it then, but it's certainly playing out that way for sure. And if they can do a deal on CareerBuilder and wrap all that shit up and go IPO, that'll be a lot of fun to watch.
Last one, kids. Yeah. Prediction from Chad. Indeed, which we've been talking about for a while now. This actually kicks Indeed in the ass and says, well, you've been thinking about it. Now you must move to the agency model.
We'll be right back. Chad, are you on Threads?
I am.
I think we should talk about it. In case you missed it, everybody, Threads, the Twitter rival launched by Meta, reached 100 million signups in just 5 days. Twitter has 240 million daily active users, so Threads has a little work ahead of it still, but it's a good start. It's a pretty good start. Threads lacks certain features like direct messaging, hashtags, and keyword search, but it's a good bet those are coming soon. Currently ad-free, Threads will consider monetization after reaching 1 billion users. Pretty lofty goals. Early days, Chad, but what's your take on Threads?
Well, first and foremost, I think it's amazing because Blue Sky, Jack Dorsey's new venture, which is just a Twitter clone, it reached 1 million. It's been around for a minute, but it was one of those invite only. Mastodon was invite only. I'm on Mastodon. Who the hell knows how many are on Mastodon today, because nobody cares.
We know Truth Social is your favorite, Chad. We know Truth Social is your favorite.
Post News is actually really cool from a monetization standpoint because of the micro payments. I think that wrapped in with some advertising could be incredibly helpful with all of the content, and then also feeding journalism, right? That's the big key, is trying to feed that thing that we all need is journalism. We need them out there pressing for the truth. Anyway, back to Threads. Yes, Threads was incredibly easy from a registration process standpoint. I went through Mastodon and they're asking me, what server do I want to fucking sign up for? Are you kidding me? I'm not a tech guy. I don't want to choose a server because of my social alignment. I just want to be on the fucking platform, right? It was easy. Threads, just boom, you're in. You did have to do a little profile, which, I mean, you know, that didn't take too long. So being able to get to 100 million users in 5 days was amazing. Here's their big problem: stickiness. Twitter is incredibly sticky because they do have the trending, right? They do have the notifications, and these guys are still really new, even though they do have a obviously great tech backbone with Meta and everything Meta does. They still are going to have to get at least some of the very basic features together that create more of a sticky platform that that I want to come back, and they actually have notifications that are meaningful to me. I think that is something that will be incredibly helpful while Elon continues his stupid shit and puts limits on tweets and all these things, and then he wants to charge for TweetDeck and so on and so forth. And it's like, okay, you're just giving all these reasons, all these toll roads for me to go somewhere else. And if Threads is that popular, that fast, and they can create the stickiness, I think there's a chance. I'm saying there's a chance.
And you're saying stickiness is the key.
What are you doing, step bro?
So sometimes this copycat approach works for Facebook. Sometimes it doesn't. I mean, some of the things that weren't real successful, they went after Foursquare with the check-ins. Check-in is just a feature now. I miss being the mayor of my local Chipotle, but that's a different story. They launched Bulletin to rival or like have a news service, or they paid really high-profile people to write content. Bulletin.com doesn't even work anymore. So they scrapped that real quick. Now, sometimes it works really well. Reels has worked pretty well. Copycat. Marketplace, copycat, working pretty well. WhatsApp, Instagram. So far, Threads looks like it's working. Now, you and I have seen things like skyrocket and has quickly come down. I'll mention Clubhouse as one of those, right? We're not talking about them anymore. And traditionally, something that rises really fast will fall really fast. So they've won the early innings, but we'll see what happens long term. What really makes me wonder about this is if Zuck believes he has a recipe for kind of these copycat, and I have 3 billion users and I can become a major player overnight, what would stop him from going after LinkedIn? LinkedIn is a $26 billion acquired company from a few years ago. It has no competitors, really. What's to stop Zuck from creating a LinkedIn competitor, plug in your Facebook stuff, put in your current employer, right? Whatever. I don't know how they would do it. But apparently this Threads thing was built with 20 developers as an almost side project. They could roll out a LinkedIn kind of thing. And everybody hates LinkedIn, just like a lot of people hate Twitter and Elon Musk. There's a real incentive in my eyes that people would leave LinkedIn, and maybe not old people like us who have tens of thousands of followers. I'm just too tired to build a whole new LinkedIn. But if I'm a kid, Polywork looks like a pile of shit to me. Something that Facebook could build and plug me into maybe some employers that are in their marketplace or that used to post jobs. By the way, that's another failed copycat is job postings. On LinkedIn or on Facebook. But I would love to see Facebook roll this recipe out and put out a LinkedIn competitor. I don't know how it would do, but I think LinkedIn could use a little competition. We talk a lot about how shitty it is. If they had somebody at their heels nipping, like a Facebook with that kind of budget, I think it would be good for the marketplace and good for business.
Yeah, it'd definitely be good for the marketplace. I mean, we need something that's an alternative to LinkedIn. Just because it's old, it's crappy. I mean, just the tech itself. I feel like I'm getting into a 1997 jalopy, for God's sakes. I mean, we need something newer. I mean, they are trying a lot of different things, and I think that's the biggest problem is they are throwing a lot of spaghetti at the wall. But to me, okay, let's go over to Facebook. Facebook has tried the workplace side of the house.
Yep.
I think they could possibly get it right if they had people that were in there who actually knew how to build tech for this space. They're trying to build tech for what they're used to. This is an entirely different space, and most companies don't get that. So, yeah, I don't know. I do. We'll watch Threads. I've been posting on Threads. I do also like the idea of that. All of those individuals who are my friends that I'm linked to on Threads, I can take to any social platform with me. Yep. I'd love to be able to take all of the people that follow me on Twitter and then all of my history of tweets and then port that over to another social platform, right? That to me, that's not starting from ground zero anymore, right? Yeah. That is just boom and you're out. So that's freedom of choice. And that's, Elon's always talking about freedom of this, freedom of that. What about freedom of choice? Give me my shit, right?
Yep. Good luck with that. But we both agree that LinkedIn could use some competition, and it could use some competition from somebody with deep pockets. I don't care if it's Google, Facebook, Twitter could launch something, Amazon, Salesforce, like somebody sack up and create a LinkedIn competitor. I think that would be good for everybody.
Yeah. Google needs to buy the CV wallet, and then that can just build the profiles off of that thing.
Look at you bringing Sir Richard into the podcast.
I'm just thinking of foundational rails to get something going. And again,
by the way, how do we go to London? That bastard isn't at Recfest. God damn it, Sir Richard.
Dude's working.
You, man.
Beverly is cracking the whip, is what it is. Beverly's cracking the whip.
And speaking of cracking the whip. All right, let's play a little buy or sell, everybody. You know how the game works. 3 startups that have recently got funding. I read a summary, and Chad and I either buy or sell the company. Here we go with a little buy or sell. First up, we have Zinc. Background check provider Zinc has secured around $6.5 million in a Series A. The investment will support global expansion and product innovation. The company aims to tap into the growing global background check market and becomes a leader in regulated industries by leveraging a technology-driven approach. Chad, Zinc, buy or sell?
Well, first and foremost, Zinc coffee from Recfest was awesome. So that's that's a thumbs up here from Chad.
Not their business.
Yeah, not their business. Although every morning when I pull out the beans to grind the beans, you know what's looking me in their face? Their brand. It was fucking brilliant. But at the end of the day, though, background checks need a facelift. We've been talking about this week after week after week. Anything that helps me wake up in the morning and could prospectively take an antiquated segment like background checks and move it into 2023, I am a buy all day.
Wow. Chad, do you remember Virgin Cola back in the 90s? Do you remember Sir Richard Branson? No. Since we're bringing up Sir Richard Branson. Do you remember Virgin Cola?
I don't.
Mid 90s. They had a cola and mistakenly made it red, which is Coke's color. So that was a bad idea. The problem with this is, by the way, Virgin Cola failed. No one's drinking it. The problem with background checks, it's an old industry, and we have our Coke and Pepsi. We have Sterling, we have Higher Right, and now the tech option is Checker. It's a business that has its big brands. Fanta would be Checker, I guess, in this analogy.
RC.
By the way, Sterling stock, which is a public company, from a year ago is about at half of what it was a year ago, which means it's kind of a shitty business. It's a disparate business. It's a hard business. Companies aren't super loyal. They kind of bounce back between the two big ones and maybe Checker. So I hate the business. You have your Coke and Pepsi. I think this is a sad exercise in futility. And for that reason,
we need a revolution, Joel.
A revolution. It ain't in background checks. All right, let's go to RecruitBot. A San Francisco-based recruiting experience platform has raised an additional $8.2 million in seed funding, bringing its total to $11.2 million. The platform utilizes AI and ML. Well, we haven't talked about ML in years to match companies with suitable candidates from a database of over 600 million people and facilitates personalized automated email campaigns on behalf of hiring managers. Chad, RecruitBot, buy or sell?
So they've been around since 2017, and I don't know that we've ever talked about them on the show. Have we? I don't think so.
Possibly.
I don't think we have.
A lot of bots and Recruit.
I don't
in our
remember
content.
them. Yeah. Anyway, 8.2 in seed funding is a lot of cash. That's a lot of cash for seed funding. So there's a good amount of runway that's there. Matching recruitment automation and recruitment marketing automation light is pretty much what the platform does. 600 million candidate database. To me, whenever I hear something like that, it means it's garbage. It means they went and they bought candidates from somebody else, right? They bought it from a data warehouse. Automatically think garbage. There's no mention of generative AI, which I thought was odd, although cool at the same time. AI, ML. We have two really big brands in this space. Seek Out, Hire Easy. We've got more than two, right? But we've got so many of these. I almost think that they're kind of behind the ball. They're a little bit late. They're underfunded compared to definitely Seek Out. And so unfortunately, I love all of it. I hope they kick ass tech names. But for me today, kids, gonna sell it.
Another sell. Yeah, Chad, I got really excited about this company, and I remembered it was 2023 and not 2017. Yeah. Look, if companies like Seek Out and Hire Easy have really pivoted, kind of grown their business into different ways. Oh, by the way, Hiring Solved is closed for business. What reason do we have to think that this thing is going to be successful? I'm pretty impressed they've raised as much as they have, especially when they've raised it. But I see no reason. This feels antiquated. Even their logo is like this fucking Windows 95 robot thingy. I mean, it's a disaster to me. I have nothing. I have nothing. RecruitBot the name is horrible too. It's all bad. It's a big sell for me. All right, let's go to our third and final startup. Dubai-based alfii has raised $2.5 million in a pre-seed funding round to expand its business. The near-term focus for alfii will be building a suite of innovative payroll features. You don't hear innovative and payroll in the same sentence very often. The startup aims to serve the Middle East and North Africa region, particularly startups and SMEs, and has already attracted over 250 businesses across countries like the UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Egypt. Chad, buy or sell alfii, not to be confused with the 80s alien and popular sitcom Alf.
Yeah, the alien who eats cats. Yeah, not that one. So this, to me, this is fintech, right? To me, we are starting to see a convergence of technology, and we're going to see more of that with generative AI, right? So all of these huge tech companies are going to start bleeding into HR and talent acquisition and payroll and so on and so forth. And to be quite frank, there's so many great fintech companies that are out there that I think will just automatically gobble up payroll and do it much easier. Apps, on the phone, all that other fun stuff, and just make it incredibly simple. It's going to be crazy competitive market, which is one of the reasons why I just can't buy into alfii. It's a sell.
Doesn't anyone notice this? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
Sorry, Alfie.
Oh, that's a sell. All right. Is this the first Dubai-based startup we've ever covered? I don't remember ever saying
possibly.
Dubai. Yeah, possibly. So in case you missed it, the Middle East is spending money around the world like they are drunken sailors. They're buying sports teams. They're buying entire leagues. They're trying to sports wash the whole, energy authoritarian government thing. And if that starts bleeding into our industry, Katie bar the door, because there's a whole lot of money that they can start funding these employer-related startups. Not that alfii is taking money from the crown prince of Saudi Arabia. Who knows? Actually, we do know because it's in the press release. But anyway, I love the region. I love the money that they are spending, and which has to come to startups at some point. They have to start getting into businesses and startups after they get done with sports and who knows what else they're spending money on. I love the growth opportunities in Africa. I love the growth opportunities in the Middle East. I think it's going to start diversifying from energy only to many other industries. And companies like this, to me, are on the forefront of that. So I just think it's hella interesting. And the money that's flowing around the Middle East right now makes this a buy for me. And if you're keeping score at home, well, that's a whole lot of sell ratings this week on buy or sell. All right, Chad, move over, boss girl. Lazy girl is here. The lazy girl trend, popularized by Gen Z on TikTok, is challenging the previous girl boss hustle culture. Young women are prioritizing work-life balance and opting for jobs that meet expectations without exceeding them. The trend has gained traction on TikTok, with users sharing their experiences of lazy girl jobs that offer flexibility and minimal stress. Have a listen.
The most vital person to your career and livelihood is the person who they would fire.
I could not agree more, and I've done this, and I'll talk about it. And I did the other way around. Okay, guys, I talked about this in my podcast. Like, I did the other way around, where I sat there and I tried to be the best performing person, and I worked extra nights and blah, 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 and I didn't get any more of a raise than I did just doing the second worst best effort. Giving your best effort and working the most overtime does not equal a pay raise. It's just my opinion. I worked in the tech industry. That's what I saw. The people who got a raise, they stayed top of mind by talking about the projects that they were doing all the time. And they weren't even that impactful of projects. They would just talk about what they were doing all the time. They would look like they were moving the needle all of the time, but not actually working. That's who gets a raise. It's not the person that's like quietly like grinding the whole time. So just be the second worst on your team and just go live your life.
Just be the second worst, Chad. What's your take on the lazy girl trend?
So I think it's bad marketing, first and foremost, to put lazy in any of that. I think she could have gotten to the thesaurus and found something a little bit more appetizing, something that somebody would, want to embrace. Nobody wants to be called lazy, but it is a game, right? And she very keenly, at a very young age, has pinpointed the truth. This is the truth, because there are so many. Let's just say, for instance, like in the tech sector, and being able to manage tech before, you've got to be pinpoint on projects, and you've got to be on it. And there are the ones who are all talky, and not enough doey, right? And there's a lot of people who do a lot, and they're not talking about it, right? We've always heard the squeaky wheel gets the grease, gets the oil. In this case, it gets the greased palm. They get the leg up. So life over work. That's exactly what she talked about. I think that the marketing that we've heard since the 80s, work hard, rugged individualism, has finally started to decay, much like the Berlin Wall, and it's starting to fall down. And these Z's understand, because either they're feeling it themselves or they're having Xers like us saying, it doesn't really work that way.
There is some evil genius sprouting out with this Gen Z crowd. I'm here for it, my man. So the lazy girl hashtag on TikTok currently has 14 million views. Here are some quotes. Quote, "I don't have to talk to people, only come to the office twice a week." And quote, "Me at my lazy girl job that lets me do whatever the heck I want as long as I answer emails and keep everything clean." Are these girls podcasters? Chad, I've been at the forefront of this trend for 18 years. You have met Lazy Girl, and now I present to the Lazy Boy. Everyone bow down to Joel Cheeseman, a.k.a. Lazy Boy. We out.
Nappy Boy. We out.
Thank you for listening to, what's it called? A podcast. The Chad. The Cheese. Brilliant. They talk about recruiting. They talk about technology. But most of all, they talk about nothing. Just a lot of shout-outs of people you don't even know. And yet you're listening. It's incredible. And not one word about cheese. Not one. Cheddar. Blue. Nacho. Pepper Jack. Swiss. So many cheeses and not one word. So weird. Anywho, be sure to subscribe today on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. That way you won't miss an episode. And while you're at it, visit www.chadcheese.com. Just don't expect to find any recipes for grilled cheese. It's so weird. We out!